Thank you, Senator Brown. I want to thank you and the chairman for having this hearing, and I want to thank the folks who were on the panel today. And I just want to know, because I don't want to go into a realm you're not familiar with, but how many folks have had experience with the HUD-VASH program? Raise your hand if you have, because then I got a question if you have. So, in your experience, how adequate is that program for meeting the needs out there for veterans? And by the way, I've got a bill to expand it to include other than honorable discharge veterans, because a lot of these folks get PTSD and then they get booted out of the military through no fault of their own through their experience. But so the question is right now, how effective is that program in meeting the needs of homeless veterans?
In Columbia, South Carolina, we currently administer 414 HUD-VASH vouchers.
For homeless vets?
For homeless veterans.
And how many homeless vets do you have left over?
Oh boy, probably 4 times as many.
4 times as many? So that program could be expanded. You could utilize those HUD-VASH vouchers to meet the needs of the people who served our country?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much. And this is for anybody who wants to answer this. As the ranking member pointed out in his opening statement, we've got housing issues with affordable housing, workforce housing throughout this country. It doesn't matter if you're talking urban areas or rural areas. In fact, I would say that in Montana, it's probably the biggest inhibitor for economic development that we have right now, because there's simply not any housing. And if you're in a real small town, the housing is dilapidated, so we got another problem there. So what is the best way to encourage workforce housing at the federal level? What can we do to encourage more housing to be built that people can afford? Is there any certain programs that you guys look at and say, you know what, this is really effective, this is good, it does the job, if there was more emphasis put on this program, it could really make a difference? Anybody can answer it.
Well, with being able to utilize the low-income housing tax credit and the National Housing Trust Fund, those are 2 places where investment in being able to develop housing units is critically important. Okay. And then, as I said earlier, being able—
What was the second one, low income?
The National Housing Trust Fund.
Okay, go ahead, keep going.
And then additions to the Housing Choice Voucher and other rental assistance programs is also vitally important, because those 2 programs alone can't make sure that housing is affordable for the lowest income people.
Okay, if you, and I'm going to get to manufactured housing in a minute, Mr. Yost, but have either of you utilized the low income housing tax credit? Go ahead. Yep.
Yes, we've utilized the competitive 9% tax credit and the 4% bonds.
And as your utilization of it, has it resulted in positive impacts on the housing market?
It certainly has.
Do you fully utilize all the credits that are available, or could you use more?
We could certainly use more.
And you could put them to work and they would be as effective as the ones you have now?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys very, very much. It's a big problem. I mean, it just is a big problem. Mr. Yost, you put out some figures, and by the way, I'm a co-sponsor of the bill, and I believe in what you do. I almost bought, when my kids were thinking about moving back to the farm before they realized they weren't going to make enough money, I almost bought a manufactured home, and they're pretty damn impressive. But the numbers you put forth are amazing. You can build it for about half of what you build an on-site stick-built home. Not half, a quarter for what you build an on-site stick-built home. I just got to ask, because those figures are almost too good to be true. When you put forth those figures, are you putting them forth within the same region? Because a house in Montana, because the price of land is, not in all cases, but in most cases, far less, are we comparing apples to apples here? You're not comparing the stick-built on-site homes in, say, a place like California versus a place like Montana.
So, as an example, in Montana, the figures that I'm quoting are national averages, but in Montana, for example, the national average for a home is $294,000, no land, just the house itself. For a multi-section, meaning a larger home in Montana, it's about $126,000 for a kind of a comparable home.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, manufactured housing on a per square foot basis is about $50 per square foot because of the process, techniques, and automation we have,
Yep.
versus site-built, which is $111 per square feet.
Yeah, and so, and you also gain efficiency in workforce, right? I mean,
Yes, sir.
And you also gain efficiency in, I would assume you've got different plans, but you probably don't have a different plan for every house you build, right?
We have a lot of plans.
Okay.
We do several thousand models.
And you also gain efficiency in bulk buying of everything, from shingles to steel to lumber, right?
Yes, sir. Economies of scale.
So I just have a request.
Yes, sir.
If you guys could put one of your plants in Indian country where they don't have enough housing and they have a hell of a workforce, it would be great. I think it could really be a win-win deal, and there are some tax advantages for you to do that.
I'll come
And
see
I'd
you.
be more than happy to help you out.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.